Sup peeps, my name's Ian. I sell books on eBay. Only got 7 orders going out today. Another kind of slow one, but a couple of quite interesting books going out. Ones to be on the lookout for. And also, I went out and did a wee pick up yesterday. Don't know, 100 odd books. But when you go out and look for lots and just grab, there's certain things that you should always, if you see and you've got a chance to check them out before you pick them up. But really, you just pick them up if they're cheap enough, and you will find some absolute stunners within certain genres, types of book. And yesterday I found one. I thought it might be worth a couple of quid. Turns out it's potentially worth an awful lot more. I'll show you that in a wee while. Anyway, let's have a look at some orders first and just get cracked on with that. First up, I've got a couple of books today that actually sold a few days ago, but have only now been paid for. So, you know, people make you offers, you accept the offers, then you've got to wait for them to pay. Sometimes, and I'm not sure what differentiates it, but eBay will take the payment from them immediately. Other times you have to wait for them to pay it. So this is one of those. No, this is a cup of coffee. Lovely. Right, stick that mug out the way. Max Brooks. So he wrote World War Z, and he also wrote The Zombie Survival Guide, Complete Protection from the Living Dead. So essential in this modern world. That one went for £6.55. Right, next, quite a few single books today. The Marlow Murder Club by Robert Thorogood, and I've sold that one a couple of times actually, and this time it went for £6.84. Next, took an offer on this one. I think I had it listed for £8 plus postage, and I got an offer for a £5. Sales were really slow, so this went out at 9:45 last night. So those two books I'd showed you was everything from like 11 o'clock all the way through to 9:45 last night, just those two little paperbacks for £6. So I took an offer of a £5 on this Irvine Welsh book, The Long Knives, really nice, clean condition hardcover. So it went for £8.99 in total. Saved the day a wee bit. Right, vintage, antiquarian, specific category type books. Any fool can be a dairy farmer. When I was in doing a pickup, somebody had obviously had a clear out and dropped in a bundle of themed books. So there was a few around farming and such like. So I just grabbed them all. I was thinking of doing a bundle, but this one seemed to be worth a few quid on its own. It's a 1980 first edition, which to me still seems kind of recent, but it's, what, 40 odd years old now. So Any Fool Can Be a Dairy Farmer sold for £13.99. That's a tenner plus postage. So yeah, that's maybe one to keep, or a type of book at least, to keep your eyes open for. Next is the only bundle of the day. One bundle today, and that was it. And it is a stack of Narnia with a wee Cassandra Clare and a bit of Amy Lee, who is off of YouTube as well. So it's 10 books in total. I'm thinking they might even be under 2 kilos because the Narnia books are very, very light. They did order the wee hardcover Ted Smart Narnia The Last Battle as well, and the Cassandra Clare was a kind of normal size paperback. City of Bones was that one? Yeah, City of Bones. So I'm hoping that lot might be under 2 kilos, might not, but if it is, that's an extra wee win for me. And that bundle of 10 went for £17.80, because there's a lot of cheap books in there. Narnia, they don't sell for big money. You can bundle them up and wait and get a wee bit more, but I tend to just have them up on a listing and see how they go. Next, another single book, because like I say, that was the only bundle of the day, so they're all singles. And we have A Director's Cut, an Abbott Peter mystery. I've had this for ages. It's just one of those. It was in nice condition, so I picked it up months ago. It's been listed, unlisted, listed again, forgotten about, and it's finally gone for £6.84. So it just it's the same old deal. If you've got space, stack them up, get them listed, and at some point every book will sell, but you've got to have space and you've got to have patience. That's the challenge, and I ain't got a lot of patience. Right, the last one, which is definitely a bit of a bolo, Old and Rare Breeds of Poultry. So I think I picked this up at the same time as I got the Dairy Farmer book. So again, there was a bundle within it of books about dukes. A couple of them are worth a wee bit more, a couple of them are just kind of run-of-the-mill prices, but this one did have some good sales against it. I had a couple of solds against it and only a couple listed, so I worked on the assumption that meant it might have a decent sell-through rate. So a couple of months it's taken. I had it listed for 30 quid. Somebody made me an offer for 27. It's actually going international. So £27 plus postage, so £30 99 pence for Rare, Old and Rare Breeds of Poultry by J. Butler. And it almost looks self-published, but it's a lovely illustrated book. And it's not an old book, I don't think. Let's just see if we can find the date on it, see if it's got a date on it. The Beach Publishing House, 1997. So it was first published in 1993, and then this new edition came out in 1997. So not a particularly old book, getting close to 30 years, but still pretty modern by what I would consider old and new. So that's all the orders we've got going out today. I say a couple in there to, of a type of book to keep your eyes open for, because you never know what they might be worth. If you can look them up there and then, go for it. If not, if you're only paying 25-30 pence, grab them. What's the worst that can happen? You lose 25-30 pence, but potentially you can X100 that. So if that cost me 25p and I sold it for 27, happy days. Total value for all of those was only £109 and 4 pence, and it's going to be the usual. We've got 7 times 3, 21, about £25 in postage coming off of that, so that's actually quite good. But then nearly all of them are promoted listings, so that's going to push up the eBay fees a little bit for the day. So I'm still expecting a third for eBay, a third for postage, and then a third in profit back into the business, so about £35 to £40 profit for the day. So not a great day from trying to earn a full-time living off of it, but again, as I say too often, for the effort involved in doing that, I'm perfectly happy with it. It would be nicer if it was actually enough money to, pay the bills, but I'm quite happy with that turnaround. I am trying to spend more money at the moment to increase the stock now that I've worked out a wee bit of space saving. I'm ramping it up a bit until that gets filled in again, and I've come up with another storage spot, which isn't very practical, but it works, where if I'm picking up excess, I can stack it up until I can get to it and process it from there and get it put away. So it's a bit of a balancing act as ever. Anyway, yesterday I did go out and I went to a couple of places and picked some books up. There's one little shop that's out in the middle of nowhere in the little village town of Mauchline in Ayrshire. It's got a Burns monument, so it's one of these. Every town around here claims a connection to Rabbie Burns, and this is one of them. But it's like 10 miles away from me here, and then 10-20 miles from any other significant place, and it's just one little charity shop in the middle of nowhere. It's part of a chain, not a massive chain. It's Ayrshire Hospice in Mauchline, and it's actually a great wee shop. They get some really, really nice stuff in there. Their prices aren't amazing, but they're not overpriced. So for example, yesterday I've been looking for a new pair of jeans for mucking about in, and picked up a nice wee almost new pair of Lee Coopers for £4.75. So that's their kind of typical prices for that. So it's a great wee shop from there, but I only go and visit it once, maybe every couple of months, because it is like a 20-mile round trip to get there, and there's always those wee bit of nerves. Like if you go out there and you pick up 5 books, you've not even covered your petrol. You know, it's just not worth it from that point of view. But every now and again, I'll take a wander out. And yesterday, I think I spent a whole £16, but it's 3 for £1 on the books. So that's like 48 books. So but it makes the journey worthwhile. And when I only go out occasionally, maybe it would work if I went more often, but for the regularity that I do go out to that particular shop, it's always good kind of bread and butter, the popular authors that I have in my variation listings that I can pick up an awful lot of, which is what I did. You know, a big stack of Wimpy Kid. I got some Scott Mariani, I got some James Patterson, David Baldacci, just all the usuals. So it was a really good pickup. And then I took a wee trip to another shop where the books are 2 for £1. So when I go in there, I have to remind myself I'm not picking up anything. I'm there to pick up the stuff that I know has got a pretty good sell-through rate and sells quite well. And I spent about 40 quid in there. So another 78 books, I think it was, £39. So yeah, 78 books. And got some really, really good, again, the bread and butter stuff, the stuff that goes into the variation listings. Don't typically find rare books in there, because there's a woman that works in there who loves her books, and she is really up on them, you know, that she takes great pride in getting them right. So you very rarely find anything that's incredibly rare. I'll say rare. Old and rare breeds of poultry. Old and rare breeds of books. If there's anything that's worth a bit of money, she usually finds it and makes sure that it's priced appropriately, you know, getting the money in for the charity. It's Cancer Research Store in Irvine, by the way, in case anyone's interested. They also do DVDs, 10 for £1, CDs, 10 for £1. So if you want to pick up any kind of small media, get in there, fill your basket. But they did have a nice wee stack of Terry Pratchett paperbacks. Not the old 80s ones, I think going back to, like, you know, The Fifth Elephant, maybe the oldest, and there was 6 or 7 in total moving forward from there. So picked all of them up, so that was good. They're not in brilliant condition, but it's a wee add-on to that listing. And this, now I've mentioned them in the past, novels of movies. They're usually not great novels, but some of them are really, really collectible. Some of the Indiana Jones stuff is ridiculously priced. Some of the Alien stuff is ridiculously priced. And it's not even necessarily novels of that particular film that was made. You know, you get serializations all around about them. But this is a novel of the movie. So I saw it, it was a bit tatty. So I hesitated for a moment, and then I thought, oh no, that's worth a punt for 50p. So I picked it up. Halloween, the novel of the movie. So I grabbed it, threw it in. When I got home, I was going to look it up, and I noticed, oh god, it's a bit tatty. It is definitely a bit tatty. It's acceptable condition, not any better. You know, a couple of wee tears on the cover. But going into it, it turns out it is a first edition. So it's a first UK edition. It was printed in 1979 in the States, and then this is the first UK edition from 1980. So it is a first print, which is always something good. And then I comped it. And that's the solds. It's rather impressive, isn't it? So 50p into a whole lot more. Now, I've listed it, but I've made the mistake in the past of finding something that seems to be worth a few quid, kind of taking a punt on the price to get a quick sale, and it's selling quickly, but then that wee kind of niggle that I could have got more for that, and not a couple of quid more. I could have got 50, 60, hundreds of pounds more for that if I had been a wee bit more patient and maybe done it differently. So that's what I've tried to do with this one. I have put it up as an auction at a high price, a pretty high price starting bid, just to see what kind of interest there is. If somebody takes it for that or more, I'm more than happy. If it doesn't sell after a week on auction, then I'll just put it up as a buy it now, and at that point consider exactly what I want my price point to be. So for a pretty battered book, but very, very collectible. And there's only a handful listed, and all of those sold. I'm hoping to get a really, really nice return on that. And it also goes into what I was talking about with keeping my listing values up day to day. So I've been a bit behind on target for my listing values, so I'd upped it so that for this month I wanted to do £400 a day, and up until yesterday I'd only done that once. I hit £400 exactly on the first, and then 317, 369, 228. So it's not been hitting target. Let's be honest, I've been kind of hitting last month's target, but not this month's. But I knew all it would take was a couple of nice finds with books that are worth a wee bit more. You know, if you have 5 or 6 books that are all worth 20 quid, then suddenly it's 100, 120 pounds done in 5 quick listings. If I get a big stack of one author, which yesterday I picked up, I think about 14 Clive Cussler books. So Clive Cussler I will pick up because he sells well. I got them all in the 2 for £1 shops, so they're all 50 pence each. But still, my average cost overall is lower than that. But that's because sometimes I'll get stuff and I'm only paying 15, 20p. Sometimes I'll pay 50p, 33p, you know, it's all in there. So that big Clive Cussler chunk, able to get that done in 5 minutes to update that listing, and that was adding 50 or 60 pounds to my listing value for the day. And then the wee Halloween book, putting that up for the 150. So that was over £200 just from 2 listings essentially. So then the rest of it getting through all the other bread and butter. And because I did that pickup yesterday, I got a lot. So I had quite a few where I had half a dozen from one author, excuse me, because I'd been saving some by until I had enough to justify it, added to those, got them out there. So yesterday we managed £502 listing value, which gets me more back in line. So I need to do 500 today, 500 tomorrow, and that's me back on track to have listed £2,800 worth of books in a week. Now I just need to sell them. And that's the bit that's letting me down, obviously. The target based on that volume of listings, I want to sell half as much of that every day compared to what I'm listing. So I'm trying for £200 a day and falling way short of that. So yesterday, although what I've just shown you there orders wise is £109, the actual sales for yesterday midnight to midnight was only 68 quid. So another really slow day from that point of view. And I know there are people out there who would be delighted to get £68 worth of sales. I'm trying to do this full time, so £68 doesn't cut it from that point of view. But this morning, I think I've just about equalled that already, just this morning, with the couple of sales that have gone out and through from the lot that I have showed you there. Where are we? Yeah, 20, 50. Yeah, we're just over 50 quid for, is that 50? Yeah, just over £50 for sales today so far. So nearly at that total, and it's only 9:45 in the morning. However, I said something similar yesterday. It had been a really good start to the day when I was making the video, and then there was nothing until about 9:45 last night. So a whole day just with no sales whatsoever, which is just the nature of the beast. But not disappointing, but frustrating, because if I'm listing that value every day and I'm not listing rubbish, I'm trying to list the stuff that I know sells. There's a few wee experiments within it. So for example, some of that's been a few bundles of Mills and Boons books, which have the potential to do okay. So I've got some of those out there, but for the most part, it's stuff that has sold before, sells regularly, updating and adding to these listings, and now just being patient and waiting for them to sell. But putting out, before yesterday, this month, I had listed 4, 7, 10, £1,300 worth of books, but only sold 350, 410, £600. So £500 even. So it's a bit, I want it to be a wee bit more than that. That's the key. It's not far away from what my aim is, but it's just trying to get it there. So finding like that wee Halloween book, it's on auction. We'll see how it goes in 7 days. That could be a nice wee extra in for that day. So, you know, when we get to about the 11th or the 12th, there could be an extra wee £150 plus boost into the sales, which will be very nice and bump up the average. But I tend to find when that happens, when I get a kind of single sale that's worth a lot of money, that day will be quite good because I've got that plus a kind of normal day's sales. But the next day is always absolutely atrocious. It does, I mean, eBay say it in their terms and conditions that they will decide when and where they show your listings. They've only got so many customers. I mean, that's it. There's probably, the way it feels at the moment, I'm not going to say it's probably because this is just my opinion. I'm making assumptions based on pretty much unknown facts. There are more sellers than customers at the moment. Not, you know, if there's like 100 million customers, there's probably not 100 million sellers, but the volume of items and goods that they've got out there for any particular customer group that's interested in something far exceeds the number of customers. So, you know, today there might be 1 million people looking for books, but there's 100 million, 200 million books available. So eBay has to be very, very careful to make sure that they get the most bang for their buck about what books they show those customers that are looking for them. So there's a lot more books available than customers looking for them, and their algorithm is going to work out the best items to show those customers that are most likely to get a sale. So somebody could go in looking for, you know, one of the titles I've got, and all the customers that are on that day always look for the cheapest option. So my listings aren't going to get shown to them. It's not going to happen that way. And there'll be lots of other variables in there. So I get it that there will be days where eBay will say, right, you're not going to get any more traffic, mate, for any number of reasons. And there will be another side to that as well, where they need to make sure that all sellers get a bit of a fair shot at it. So, you know, if there's 100 listings that are all quite similar and the sellers all have the same kind of sell-through rate, then I'm quite sure that one person doesn't get all of those customer views. They will get spread out across the piece. So there's lots of bits going on in there, and I just need to work out how to make sure that eBay thinks I am the best option as many times as possible to direct people to. One way of doing that is having lots and lots and lots and lots of stock, lots and lots of listings, so that more often than not one of yours will pop up and mine will show up with the buy 3 get 2 free coupon on the listing title, which means people might click on that, and then that takes them to the rest of my stock, my inventory, and maybe they will buy some more. But it's a game, isn't it? It's all a bit of a game. We'll just need to keep playing it to see what happens. I also wonder that based on your shop subscription, if that dictates some of the traffic that you may get, does that have an impact on the algorithm? I've no idea about any of these things. I mean, this is just me spouting, nothing more. But I'm in the kind of middle tier for the shop subscriptions. So, you know, it's like 1,500 free listings a month, which I need because it's all low value items. You pay about 90 quid. The next one up, I think, is over £400 now, and it's unlimited listings. So if you were to pay an extra 300 quid a month to get, you know, unlimited listings and some of the other benefits that come with that, would that improve the number of buyers that eBay sends your way just by having that improved subscription? I don't know, but I think that might be some part of the whole algorithm. So even if you didn't maximise and get full value, so at the moment I spend my 90 quid on my shop subscription, and then it's typically 50, 60, 70 pounds a month in additional listings above that. So it's a lot of money to spend on extra listings, you know, it's 6 pence a pop, but it's still way short of paying out the £400 a month. So if I was to spend an extra 250 quid a month just on that subscription, would eBay push more sales my way that would make me an extra £250 a month to pay for that subscription? So that'd be an extra 250 books, an extra 10 books a day that I would need to see going out the door, at least. to make that worthwhile, which, I don't know, I keep swithering about it. It's a lot of extra money to put out up front, and if it doesn't come back with anything, it's a big hit for the month. It's not even a small business, it's a micro business, if you can even call it a business. It's hobby money. So, always think about these things. If anybody has that higher level subscription or a lower level and they wonder or know the same thing, let us know. Drop something in the comments. Anyway, I've blathered on enough. A couple of bolos to keep your eyes open for. Old birds. Halloween. Terry Pratchett, obviously. Tomorrow is the 7th. If you're watching this today, which is the 6th of March, tomorrow is the 7th, World Book Day. 80% off. If you want to buy a book with 80% off, then tomorrow between 10 and 7, 10 in the morning, 7 in the evening, I've got an 80% off voucher running, so fill your boots. Yeah, and that's us for today. So, on that note, all I have to do is say, see ya, love ya, bye!